Humans consider themselves the rulers of the world. They can reverse rivers and drain entire lakes at their will. However, nature has its own opinion on this matter, which also needs to be taken into account. Welcome to TopFacts channel, and today you will witness unique cases when water got out of control, leaving unprecedented devastation behind. So, are you ready? When a person builds a dam, they are confident that they have completely tamed the element. However, one should not forget the wise saying, "Water wears away stone." In 2019, in Brazil, the main river of the state of Minas got out of control. Its level rose to a critical point. At noon, the main Brumadinho Dam couldn't withstand the pressure and cracked. As a result of the dam breach, vast areas were flooded. 248 people became victims of this catastrophe, and 22 are still missing. The company responsible for building the dam was held criminally liable and had to pay a fine of $137 million. Floods often happen in Pakistan at the most inconvenient moments. While the news anchor was giving an introduction, a small dam burst on the filming location, and the journalist conducted the report right from the scene. It looks quite comical, as does the next video. Here, a cable is also connected to the microphone. How the cable didn't hit the correspondent remains a mystery to many. Not a bug, but a feature. In one of the skyscrapers in the USA, water was pouring out of the windows, even on the 20th floor. How this happened is hard to say. A similar incident occurred in China, where hotel residents could witness a beautiful waterfall forming right before their eyes. Perhaps the reason for this phenomenon was a burst pipe, but despite that, the sight is quite impressive. Like if you've ever vacationed in Sochi. A young man had quite a bit to drink and then went to the shore during a heavy storm. Dancing to lively music, the man didn't notice the approaching large waves. In a second, he was already out in the open sea. Fortunately, a group of rescuers was nearby and managed to pull the unfortunate man back to the shore in time. Sometimes, even on an ordinary beach, serious problems can catch up with you. A group of tourists was relaxing in a bay on the coast of Brazil. When a storm began, they decided to weather it together. However, they didn't consider that the waves could reach the shore and take them into the ocean. That's exactly what happened. Eyewitnesses of the incident were undoubtedly frightened and learned a rule for life: don't stand on the shore during a sea storm. Decorative water features are a unique form of art. Special channels are used to supply them with water, which often break. The sight of such a breakdown is quite impressive. It creates the impression that the action is taking place somewhere in Scandinavia, where human foot has not yet set. Nevertheless, after the repair of such a structure, everything returns to normal, and the view certainly doesn't get worse. Take a look for yourself. In many tourist spots, there are special observation decks that allow tourists to watch the spectacular waves in one way or another. Unfortunately, they are not present everywhere. In 2021, a powerful natural disaster caught people off guard in China. When you stand at the shore, the waves seem so small, but without even noticing, you can get caught in the force of nature. Luckily, there were concrete barriers on this promenade that prevented the receding water from taking a couple of human souls with it. Imagine standing on the street, enjoying delicious ice cream, and suddenly the ground beneath you starts to literally split. In 2017, an incident occurred in one of the American states. Increased pressure in the pipes led to their rupture, resulting in these shocking scenes. Under the pressure of the water, the asphalt swelled, and then a real fountain shot up into the sky. Sewage water flooded several blocks, including multiple subway stations and an entire stadium. The golden rule of all repair work: don't forget to turn off the water. These unfortunate handymen decided to quickly patch a pipe from which a small fountain was already gushing. Their colleagues warned the enthusiast, but when it finally sank in, it was too late. After another strike with a tool, water gushed from all the cracks, literally tearing the pipe apart before the operator's eyes. Fortunately, it was the cold water supply system, and no members of the team were harmed in case of an emergency. You might have seen this video on various social media platforms. The protagonists, a couple from Russia, became internet sensations. On New Year's Eve, their upstairs neighbors experienced a water out-of-control situation. Seeping everywhere possible, the water reached the stretch ceiling, turning it into a makeshift ship's leak. The newlyweds do their best to collect the water, but it's unstoppable. In the end, the guy hugs his girlfriend, implying that they won't win this war and can only wait for specialists to shut off the water throughout the house. If your house is dirty, hasn't been cleaned for a while, and the windows are covered in a centimeter-thick layer of dust, don't worry. The solution is always a pipeline accident. Thanks to such a shower, your dwelling will become so clean that even Mr. Clean will say, "Wow!" Let's hope that this pipe has nothing to do with the sewage system. Otherwise, this facade washing will surely be remembered by the residents for a long time. And how about a car wash? Here too, underground utilities come to the rescue. It looks horrifying, of course, but judging by the driver's reaction, he wasn't too upset about the incident. Moreover, thanks to the recording from his dashcam, he became a true star, garnering hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube. I'm ready to bet that you've dreamed of waking up by the seaside at least once. This girl managed to do it, though her house is unlikely to be restored. She should also give a big thanks to her husband, who successfully evacuated the brand new Honda from the flood zone. Building a house somewhere by the sea is a dream for many people. It's so great. But sometimes, even in these seemingly paradisiacal spots, natural anomalies make their way and shatter all the idol. When people are in a stressful situation, they can find meaning in the most absurd actions. Just like when this lady tried to wipe away the water pouring from the window using a tiny napkin. If I were in that woman's place, I would hurry to get to a safe place, as with such heavy rain, it's quite likely that everything around could soon end up looking like this video, and they would have to swim from house to house as if they were in a several-meter-deep pool. I wonder if people have any chances of living in such conditions at all. Just think about how much money and effort would have to be spent on restoring the area after the flood damage. Sometimes, by the way, these floods are caused by people themselves, just like in this case. The workers incorrectly distributed their efforts and broke the dam holding back the water. As a result, a powerful stream of water rushed through tiny paths in the forest, leading to such consequences. If the previous story is certainly sad, then how would you characterize the danger of the waves in this video? It seems like there are more than enough of them to wipe out an entire city. Just look how minuscule people appear against the backdrop of those waves. Although, sometimes enormous waves aren't even necessary. A strong current like the one in India in this video would suffice. It's terrifying to imagine how much infrastructure, including bridges, this weather catastrophe must have destroyed. If someone suddenly thinks that the best way to take cover from the water is to move to its habitat, meaning the ocean, you're mistaken. Look at the waves that can arise from a single accidental collision with water. I bet the entire crew outside got completely soaked. When you're inside a car, you feel safe. You think that nothing can happen. Even if you find yourself in the water, everything will be relatively fine until you open the windows. In reality, it's not like that. Due to numerous small gaps and holes, water enters the car extremely quickly. Just like that. The only thing that can match the speed of water entering a car is how quickly the guy in this video disappeared from view. He was just standing right here, hands raised, and then suddenly, poof, he's gone. It's like some sort of magic outside of Hogwarts, no doubt. I wonder what the people in Pakistan were thinking as they stood next to their garage watching what was happening. Did they already realize they would have to live on rooftops? Well, in reality, it's much more horrifying than in the video. It's even scary to think about. And if any one of you thinks that there's nothing to fear in such floods, that they're safe for people, just look at how a relatively weak current instantly forces a person back to the ground when they try to walk against it. Now, imagine the chances of humanity against stronger currents. Water is capable of this too. You can't even find refuge from it in your own home. I sincerely hope that no one was home at that moment, because I don't really see much chance of survival in this story. The most dreadful thing is that these catastrophes happen incredibly fast. Just like in this video, everything was fine. But in the morning, when people went outside, they saw this. Everything is submerged in water, transportation halted, even airplanes can't take off. One thing that I can also describe as mesmerizingly beautiful is how the dam breaks in this video. The water bursts out from every crevice. It looks epic, to say the least. The only moment I can currently compare in terms of intensity and beauty at the same time is with this video from Florida. I feel like words and any comments here are redundant. By the way, here's a video from a house in Florida after this very flood. It's interesting how the man managed to get to his home and retrieve this footage. Probably the man who was this surfer, who performed such an epic trick on video that I've never seen before, not even in the movies. Just check out how this gigantic wave submitted to him. A regular city, deserted street, bad weather. Everything seems normal, but then bam, in a moment, the situation changed drastically. It might seem like hours have passed, but in reality, only 30 minutes separated the events. After watching such videos, you can't envy those who work with water in the open sea. Even for well-prepared and experienced individuals, something like this can happen. Workers are literally swept away by the strong currents. Nevertheless, sometimes watching the same dam burst is quite pleasant and unusual. At least something similar was experienced by these people from China who were observing what was happening. After watching all these videos, it might seem like salvation is reserved for places where it's very cold. For example, in Dagestan. But even there, at some point, the snow might start melting, and it can happen incredibly fast. And no one, as well as nothing, can stop it. Hit like if you also feel sorry for this car. It would be better if all water surprises happened somewhere in open spaces like in this video. Everything looks much more colorful and awesome here. Although, from any situation, even the direst one, you can come out as a winner. Just like this guy using his board to move around the flooded city. But who I definitely wouldn't applaud for cleverness is these people. Do they really think umbrellas will save them if all of a sudden water gets out of control? Well, not just umbrellas, even underground shelters don't save from that. Haha. All right, don't worry, it's all Hollywood staging. But admit it, it looks incredibly realistic. But what's definitely not a setup is the next video shot in the mountains. Yeah, you wouldn't envy people living in that area, because you'll never know which day the ice will break loose and unleash a deadly flood on the low-lying residents. Oh, here's another video from the subway, this time from a parking lot. But now it's not a Hollywood setup, it's a real underground flood. I hope people manage to move their cars in time, though what place could be safer in such a situation? Sometimes when people work in the same field frequently, they might overlook simple things and make silly mistakes that, in turn, lead to something like this. I hope they won't fire the person for the car who made a hole in the pipe. He just needed not to panic and quickly patch up the hole. He could, for instance, take some calmness courses from those guys. They clearly know something about concentration. And, as practice shows, there are plenty of places where pipes can burst. Here's another example. How in some country disaster suddenly came from underground at the most unexpected moment. Too bad for the car owners. Imagine how frustrating it is for those who recently bought a new car. But who's definitely not worried about their car is the author of the next video. He decided to move forward, whatever the cost. It seems like everything actually worked out. I think this is how each of us imagines our home if we leave without turning off the water. Well, why not? It looks quite believable. Or something like this. This is also a quite possible variant. Although, wait a second, could it be a falling waterfall? A set decoration? Write your suggestions in the comments. All right, we've joked enough. Here's what happens in cases like this, as in this one and all the previous ones. Just imagine how frustrating it is to wake up early in the morning to find your home completely flooded. And most importantly, how to stop it. It's completely unclear. Next up, apparently, is the new trailer for Pirates of the Caribbean. How these guys skillfully stay afloat is definitely worth the attention of viewers from all around the world. Well, why not? Personally, I give a like to these guys for resourcefulness. They are just as resourceful as the girls in this video. The heroines realized that without additional protection, the water would go through their windows and flood the whole house. To solve this problem, they took all the towels they had at home and placed them against the windows. 5 stars for creativity and reaction speed. All right, friends, I think we can wrap it up here for today. These were the most astonishing water-related incidents captured on camera. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see something similar, then leave comments like, subscribe to the TopFacts channel, and right now, watch one of the previous episodes that appeared on your screen.